Hello everybody and welcome to the Goldbridge channel. We're back. If you like it being back, make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe, and we'll see if we're going to do any more. It has been too long, lots to talk about. We're going to be taking some of your questions as well. I actually put it up on Twitter, so I've not looked at them, so we're going to just take them impromptu, which I'm sure could be filled of hopefully nice comments, but could be some nasty ones, let's be honest, because I do want to talk about cancel culture. I do want to talk about that. I think it's been a really interesting week, hasn't it, with some just confusingly bad takes by people who are just not screened because they can just say what they like. And yeah, we'll talk about that. Also, just a bit of an explanation as to why I've not been on. I mean, in fact, actually, just on that, what you know, one thing I do not like about this whole cancel culture thing or whatever is that people act like their farts don't smell. Like, literally, I don't think anybody's honest. And the reason I think this is I remember doing a course. I've done like lots of jobs before doing this professionally and office work and all sorts. And you get these bloody training sessions every bloody week about this, that, and the other. There's always a, you know, how to pull your bloody, how to flush the toilet. It felt like, you know, there's all sorts of stuff. And effectively there was one. I remember one input, and the guy at the front was saying, "Put your hands up if." He said something like, you know. We all pretend that we don't do things, but you know, secret. You can be open in here. Put your hand up if you think it's okay to go for a piss when you're in the swimming pool. And nobody put the hand up. Nobody put the hand up. I didn't put my hand up because I knew no one else was going to put their hand up, because I know what people are like, and I know that over 50% of that room will have gone for a piss in a swimming pool, unless I've completely misread this and I'm the only person. I don't do that. I've never done that. It's disgusting. There's other people in the pool. You know, yeah. Well, I look. Maybe you're not ready for the swimming pool one. Maybe I won't admit that. But certainly in the sea, come on. They put sewage in the sea. You can't moan at somebody having a piss in the sea. But nobody put their hand up. And I don't know the stats. Maybe this is a poll that the Daily Mail could run. But I would think that when you're in a swimming pool or the sea, and, you know, let's be honest, water can, you know, it's like mating, isn't it? Water and water, it goes well together. You know, one gets jealous. I want to be part of this big, you know, aqua fun house. You know, it wants some release. And there was about 30 people in that room and no one put their hand up. Whereas I think if 4 or 5 had put their hand up, a few people would have gone, oh, yeah, it's funny because it's true. Yeah, yeah. But people don't want to tell the truth because they're in fear of whether that truth might be offensive to other people. And that's the world that we live in, isn't it? But so everybody keeps their truth back. Everybody's perfect. Oh, I'm outraged by that, even though in my own private thoughts I probably agree with it. That's what I don't like about the whole cancel culture thing, is that people jump onto people like, oh, that's disgusting how they've done that. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to live in your head. I don't want to be a fly on the wall in your house. But I guarantee you've done something as bad as that. And it could be pissing in a pool, or it could be some of the things that we've heard over the last few weeks. But we'll get into that. Why have I not been doing these for a while? I think the last video I did was the Deitch versus Goldbridge wrestling thing, which was right in the midst of COVID for me. So the reason I haven't been doing this for a while, I mean, I have been busy, but everybody's busy. The honest answer is, and I've actually, if I reach forward, I've actually got it here. I've kept it. I mean, that's my COVID thing there. I don't know whether you can see it. I don't know why. It's not, you know, some people have got Player of the Year awards and golden boots. I've got my positive COVID test. You know, I don't know why I've kept that. Why would you keep that? But yeah, it hit me for 6, and it hit me for 6 physically and mentally. So I sort of, because I did that Deitch versus Goldbridge video right in the middle of having COVID, and I felt rubbish when I did it. But I was trying to keep content on this channel because we'd done the stand-up in the kitchens, which I enjoyed. And COVID sort of killed my content on here, to be honest. So, you know, COVID's killed a lot of people, which is obviously more serious, but it's also killed the content on here. So blame it on COVID. And I'm not being unsympathetic there. I'm just saying that COVID really, you know, I often look back to COVID and I think the lockdowns, and I'm like, oh my God. You know, part of me actually thought at the time that, you know, we'd look back on that COVID time and not with any fondness, but go, oh, you know what, for 9 months, it was actually okay being stuck in your house with nowhere to go. I mean, it was never going to be okay. It was like a bloody prison sentence, wasn't it? So, yeah, hopefully we're never going to go back into that world again. And as I said, you know, I know people who died of it. Still, I hear people conspiracy theories. I don't know anybody who had it. I think, no, look, trust me, when I had it, I felt dreadful for about 3 weeks. The first week it was proper symptoms like cold, headache and everything. And then the 2 weeks after that, just zero energy. It was scary. It was actually scary how, I think we all go through life thinking we're invincible until we get man flu, which apparently women can get. And it's not sexist. Man flu is just basically the flu or a cold where men think it's worse than anything else. But yeah, it was a real eye-opener of, it was an eye-opener of, for me, old age. The fact that you can't, your body physically can't do what you think it should be able to do. Like, I just didn't have the energy. I took little Seb on a walk around the block, which is what I've done loads of times with him on his scooter. And we got halfway round, 10 minutes. I had to stop and sit on the grass. And I said, I've got my phone in my pocket. I might need you to ring mummy and to come and get us. And that was just a 10-minute walk. And that was like week 3. So I just felt really, really ill and for a long time. And mentally, it bothered me a little bit. So I've probably not been in the right space to start doing stuff like this, because I think to do stuff like this, you've got to be, quite... it's all right doing United stand and football because I'm in a zone, but this is more... you've got to be in a right space to do it. So yeah, that's a bit of an excuse. Apologies. But I'm back now. I'm back fit, and it's a bloody good job actually, because talking about taking Seb to school, which I wasn't talking about, which I've sort of developed. Sometimes take Seb to school if the weather's good. If it's not, I'll get the wife to do it. That sounds really bad. It's raining. Get him. Take him to school. I don't do the rain. Do you not know who I am? 1 million subscribers on YouTube. 500,000 nearly on Twitter, a couple of 100,000 on Instagram, been on TalkSport. She's gone by then. She's bored of it. Every day I have to list it out, and the list gets bigger, and the subscribers get bigger because I'm just brilliant. But I'm joking. If you're new to this channel, you're thinking, what a knobhead. I can't bring those people back. Some people just think I'm a knobhead anyway, so you may as well play up to it sometimes. But no, if it's sunny, obviously I will walk Seb to school sometimes. If it's not sunny, we'll go in the car. But I thought, this is one of the things I wanted to do this video for, so I've got to bring this back. Got to bring it back, even if it's just a 20-minute thing to tell this story. So, because again, I like things that people don't acknowledge that happen in their day-to-day lives. Like, I know some of you have gone for a piss in the sea. I know it. And you'll probably go, I can't believe it, Goldbridge went for a piss in the sea. But, sue me. See me. But just don't go in the sea with me, because if I'm stood still just with a funny face on, you're going to think, what is he doing? As long as my hands are in the air, it's nothing more sinister. But anyway, so this has been happening to me for years, and I've got to keep the sharks away from somewhere, haven't they? Maybe if a shark, it's a defense mechanism with me. When I'm in the sea, you know what I think of sharks, so I'll go out a little bit. The trouble is, it's a dilemma. You're in the sea. You need a wee. You can't do it from your knees up. You've got to go at least waist length. So, you go out to waist length, and then that's where the sharks can get you. So, for me, the urinating is a defense mechanism. You'll often see me if I'm waist length doing a little slow turn, releasing. It's not, sharks probably don't give a toss, do they? They eat seals. I don't think they're going to be bothered about urine. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, look, I take Seb to school, and he normally takes his scooter, and then I've got to walk back, and it's about a 15-minute walk back. What I really noticed is that I go on a route back that's different to the route on the way, just to mix it up a bit. Unorthodox. I like to mix it up. I'll go a different way back. But I noticed that. When I was walking back, I'm quite a quick walker, I think. Not since COVID. Anyway, Ken Barlow could beat me. And the reality is, I'm walking down the road, and there's somebody in front of me who's obviously another parent, and their pace isn't great. And it's sort of like, I don't know whether you're... This could be for joggers. This could be for cyclists. It could be just walking to work. You can spot somebody who's sort of in your path, and they're irritatingly not quick enough. It's a bit like Formula 1, isn't it? You're gaining on them with every stride. And I'm like, God, they're getting... I don't know about you, it just starts to get on my tits. I'm like, oh my God, they're in my path. They're ruining my... I've got my earpods in. I'm listening to a podcast myself because I'm a big head. And I'm like, they're in my... I can't focus on this because they're in my way. So I speed my pace up a bit. I'm never operating at 100%. I'm always like 80%. So I speed it up a little bit. I cruise past them, turn, go onto another road, and I've got clean air in front of me. Head podcasts on, slow the pace down to 80% again, and just take it home. Take it home, baby, right? And then, I become aware of, like they call it a sixth sense, don't they? When you become aware that you can't hear it because I'm too busy listening to myself. But I sense something, and the next thing I know, they're on the other side of the road. In my vision, they've gone up to 100%. They're suddenly now going quicker than me, walking on the other side of the road. And I'm like, I'm not having this. I've just had to exert, I've used some of my extra energy to go past you. Respect my speed and don't start getting in my vision again, because now you're annoying me more than you were when you were in front, because now I can see you on that side. And and then I'm going, why didn't you walk that fast in the first place? I would never have tried to take you on. I would have just been happy at your pace. I'm not going to catch up with you. Fine. So you know what I do? I up the pace again, and I'm carrying a bit of weight. Not there. I'm carrying a scooter. So I start moving. I start going up, and the gap that they've put in to go 10 metres ahead of me on that side of the road, I put 10%, and I start like that. Then they find a little bit more, and I'm like, right. But then, in about 100 metres, I'm going left. Whoa, lo and behold, they cross the road because they want to go left. Oh my God. So for the next sort of 5 minutes, there's a bit of on each side of the road where it's sort of neck and neck. And then there actually comes a point where they start crossing and we're going at the same speed. I'm like, we're going to be holding hands here if I didn't have a scooter in my hand. I was just like, do I slow down to let them pass me, or do I push it? Do I incorporate a little jog? Which I did, which I feel ashamed about. I went like this. I looked at my pretend watch, which I didn't have on, which they didn't know. And I went, oh, all right. I actually did some words as well. As they were crossing, I went, oh dear. And I just did a little 10-yard jog to give me some more space. And then I pretended to see a car go past that I knew, so I could look behind and see where they were. And they're 5 metres behind, so I've got to up the pace again. But the problem was, when they went past me on the side of the road the first time, they didn't have the pace to push on. I don't mind if you're going to take over me and then sustain it. It was like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when he took over Man United. Miles off top four, puts loads of effort in to get 4th place. Everyone else goes, oh, you want to fight for it, do you? They go up a gear and Ole goes, I've got nothing left. No, don't do that. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't put the effort in to get in front of me and then force me to respond. Like they didn't know how to respond to it. So anyway, I ended up having to have another shower, because I normally get up in the morning, have a shower, feel fresh. I've said before that in the morning, that's, I have to have a shower in the morning. Otherwise, I'm just in a mood. So I had to go and have another shower because, of course, my body is used to that 80% effort walking back, listening to the podcast. I don't break sweat. It's just my body's used to that. But as soon as you go above that and start having to incorporate little jogs, the body's like, what's going on here? We're running at the limit. We're literally running at the limit. So I don't know whether that's unique to everybody else, but you're a liar if you haven't. And don't do it in cars, because that you're going to break the speed limit and you might cause a crash. But like literally, I don't know why. It must be competitive in people's heads. Like, because I'd walked past them, they took it personally, and then they started coming back at me. And I'm like, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to walk as fast as I can. Sometimes I can hear a fast dad walking behind me, and I'll go, am I going to let it go and just have a relaxing walk back, or am I taking this on? The funny thing is, Seb's even worse than me, because a few weeks ago, we were going to school and he was on his scooter and he clocked somebody on the other side of the road who was from a rival class. I don't know what a rival class means. I don't even know how he knows the word rival. And it was like Nathaniel or something like that. And he went, there's Nathaniel. We need to cross the road, because we always cross the road to go through a shortcut. We crossed the road. I didn't see Seb for 5 minutes. He was off. But he was constantly like this. And it was just like, I must have passed it on to him, this competitive gene, because he was off. He was off on that scooter. He wasn't losing to Nathaniel. And by the time we got up the hill near the school, he was looking down. I thought he was going to start doing like Shawn Michaels' socket or something like that. He was well happy. He was like, look at him. He's not even started up the hill yet. I've absolutely destroyed him, Daddy. And I thought, you know what? High five. But yeah, I don't know. I like these things about life and human psyche, because it's just like people respond to things in different ways, don't they? It's like queue systems at the supermarket. If you're in a queue and it's quite big and they open up another checkout, do you move or do you wait? And then if you do move and you get served first, they'll always look across at you as if to say, up yours. But if you don't move and then it's slower on the other side, you're sort of like, yeah, you should have stayed. It's this competitive element that we've all got. Interesting, very interesting. I want to take some of your questions in a minute, but I also want to talk about this cancel culture thing. So yeah, on this whole cancel culture thing, there's been a lot of things going on this week, and people have sent me stuff and I've replied to stuff like I say. But you know what? I think it's like people say something that's not received well, and then people go, oh, that's them finished. And look, I operate in a world, I mean, I do cross over a little bit, but if you think about mainstream, you know, media, radio, TV, they've been at that for years, and they've got very strict protocols on things that you can and can't say. And it's not really that you can't say it, it's just that they don't want you to say it. So it won't be said. And also some things that if you say is going to bring them a lot of issues because they've got brands and regulators and everything like that. You operate in a TikTok world, a YouTube world, a Twitch world, a social media world. Effectively, you're your own boss in many ways. Who, you know, if you cross the line too far, then obviously you're going to get taken down, suspended and stuff like that. And we all know what things can do that. But you can say controversial things that people don't like, and you won't get cancelled for it. And I think some people think, oh, that's them finished. But ultimately, if it's their content on their channel, then they're probably not going to get cancelled. You might think they should, but they're probably not going to get that. And look, I've heard stuff this week about, you know, in a football sense, I think there was something about, obviously, Liverpool and the PSG game. A lot of people were blaming it on Liverpool fans again. And look, we know what happened at Hillsborough and how that's a massive tragedy, and Liverpool fans quite rightly are very sensitive about that. And then some people were saying stuff about that, and then I think somebody said it on a video, and there was other things about other clubs, and people are like, that you're gonna get the backlash for it because it's bloody stupid to say it, but are they gonna get cancelled really? They may damage their potential to grow, but ultimately when they're doing it on their own platforms, I don't think it's the sort of thing that realistically you're going to get someone cancelled for. I think my observation on this is that it's the responsibility on the individual. I think obviously I've said things that I wish I hadn't said about things that probably aren't even that bad. Just like, you know, one of my worst ones was the PSG goal that Rashford said, harder than a wedding night dick, and I was just like, I wish there was nothing wrong with it. It was just a bit cringe, I think, and I don't. But I was excited at the time, and I just, it came into my mind, and you know, you learn, you live and you learn, and ultimately, I think I'm quite fortunate because of my age, and also the fact that I've done lots of different jobs, that you pick up experience and how to speak to people, and also you set barriers for yourself that you don't really want to hurdle. You get a lot of content people who actually this is their life, like this is their big success, like they've probably not achieved in anything else, they've just found their way into this, they're good at it, and therefore their barriers are very different. And I think that they almost think that they can say what they like and they'll get away with it, and you can't say what you like, and ultimately you've got to own it when you don't. There's nothing wrong with saying something bad and apologising for it sincerely, and we've seen many a celebrity do that, we've seen many people do that. So I think that, you know, everybody's searching to cancel people when the reality is, I'll go back to what I said before, I don't know anybody who's perfect. And I certainly know that these people who say that they're perfect, in their own head, they've got thoughts and feelings that they're keeping suppressed because they know that they're not perfect. So look, we're all human, and I am actually a very empathetic person. And I think you can say that, because I know I said before I'm humble. I believe I am, but you can't say you're humble. You can't say that. So other people have to say that about you, apparently. Because if you say you're humble, actually you're arrogant. But the reality is, I think with, you know, I always believe in second chances if people are sincere. And I think the thing I would say is, whether you've got 10 people following you, because there was a question that Aidan asked, which I'm going to go through some questions in a minute. How do you cope with having a big Twitter account and everything like that? And it's like, well, you're only ever... it's not about making it. It's not about not being you. You've got to be you. Otherwise, how do you grow? You've got to be you. It's about having. It's about thinking about what you're saying. If you're drunk, or you're reacting to a goal, you may well react in a way that you wouldn't normally react. I've done so many match reactions where an hour after it I've gone, I actually don't really feel as strongly about that incident or that player as I did, and that was just an initial reaction, which is why people like it. But when you're talking about the serious topics, you can't just splurt your opinion because you might offend people. And, you know, I look at this, I've not taken any notice of this at all. You know, this Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing, I've taken no notice of it at all. I absolutely have got, not I've got no interest, I just haven't taken any notice of it at all. So I'm not observing the individuals in this. I'm taking myself away from that for a moment. And but what I am saying is, trial by media, which is effectively what that is, you've got to be really careful, because if you think about serious offences, whether it's abuse or sexual offences or anything like that, two people's story is not going to be the same as everybody else's story. And if you make sweeping statements about that and generalise it, that's such a dangerous thing to do. I worked in the police. I know how difficult these types of cases are. Domestic abuse, sexual offences in general, not just between people who know each other, in general, very difficult for victims to, you know, report and go through the court process, because it's a hard process to do it. Same with domestic abuse. If you start generalising that and saying, well, you know, that could set back real victims from coming forward, and you don't want that, because one of the big problems society had in the 70s and 80s, especially around those sort of things, is that victims were scared of coming forward. They felt that they wouldn't be supported. They felt that it would be swept under the carpet. They felt that they would be causing themselves more problems. And I know that's one example, and as I said, I've got no knowledge about that case at all, and I'm not talking about the individuals, but what I am talking about is, if you're going to comment on those sort of things, I don't like it when people generalise. We saw it with a Man United footballer who's been arrested and he's on bail, and people generalise, and they're guilty before they're innocent before it. And actually, forget those two individuals. Think about the actual investigation and the wider picture. You don't want to be putting people off from reporting genuine incidents because they see how people receive that. I'm not a fan of trial by media, and I'm also not a fan on people generalising and making comments. And it goes back to some of the other stuff as well. If you're going to make a comment about Liverpool fans or anything else that's sensitive, you can't just splurt your opinion on it and generalise it in an offensive way and not expect to get kickback. And I think that is where, you know, I wouldn't say media training, but life training is really important, because if you've not experienced life and you've not seen both sides of the coin and you've not been good at communicating with people and understanding their side of the story, you just think, hey, look, people want to listen to me. You can walk into a dangerous path of, I'm just going to splurt what I think because I'm in charge. It's my content, I can say what I like. Well, I'm sorry, it is your content and you can say what you like, but people are watching it because they feel like watching your content. And if you say something that is offensive, then they might react in a wrong way. So I just think that, you know, there's lessons to be learnt. And, you know, the world I lived in with BBC and everything like that, where everything was regulated and, you know, they were careful about everything that they said, I suppose. That's not the world now. Someone can just grab a TikTok and put something out, and all right, you know, they might get a lot of stick for it, but ultimately they're already viral or whatever like that. So yeah, I mean, I think the responsibility is on the individual. I've always said this. You've got to try as an individual and realise that you are sometimes talking to quite a few people, and it's not, you know, although you should always try and be true to yourself, you've got to think about what you're saying, because it might really be offensive, and then you get people going, well, I didn't mean it like that, or well, it's my opinion, or I can say what I like. Well, ultimately, if someone disagrees with you, you've got to take that on board. You have. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I don't think it comes up every now and again, doesn't it? People say or do things, and people say, oh, that's them cancelled, and I don't think it necessarily is. I think the most important thing is that people apologise and own it and move on from it, because we all make mistakes. Let's take some of your questions. Not talking about United. United need a right winger. Yeah, that's what I do on Going for Goldbridge. I'm doing my GCSEs and find it hard to revise. Have you got any advice as Tion? I didn't revise. I wish I had done, and so I can't really offer any advice on it because they're rubbish in my GCSEs. But I suppose in my latter life, I've learnt the lesson that you get what you put in. So yeah, I would structure it. I would set a plan. I would factor in a bit of downtime. You know, if you like watching a bit of Netflix or you like playing a bit of FIFA, maybe you structure your study for a couple of hours, half an hour of FIFA, come back to it. You know, give yourself some rewards. Sam says, can you come to Manchester? I come to Manchester quite a lot. Favourite memory playing football as a kid? I've got loads of memories of playing football as a kid. I mean, look, too many to mention, but you know what? I suppose the thing I would say is that I wish I could play football more. I loved it. Not talking about who can you see replacing De Gea? People don't grasp what Going for Goldbridge is it? The last thing I want to talk about is football. We're clearing a lot of players. Do you think we should be buying before? Yeah, I think I've got a lot of followers who've got no idea I do this type of content, to be honest. Which out of all your channels, which channel do you like most making content for? That's a good question, and it does change from channel to channel. Like, I'm doing my FIFA career mode at the moment. I'm really enjoying it, and it's a nice release. But sometimes I bloody hate it. I've been doing some film watch-alongs recently. Sometimes I really enjoy United Stand. You know, I do it every day, so I do enjoy it. But sometimes you just hit a show and you're like, this is great. And I like this sort of stuff. I really do like this sort of stuff because it's just something very different. You know, the driving, the kitchen stuff, the cooking, it's all good. Summer or winter, says Will. I probably am more of a winter person, but I do enjoy the summer. And have you been interested in basketball? I liked The Last Dance. That was about it. Okay. Do you think... No, that's about football. Virginity story, says Chris. Oh, that's just weird. And another question about football. Another question. Do you envisage yourself ever leaving United Stand? We know you can't go on forever. Yeah, I do. Look, I'm not sending shock value here, but of course that has to be the vision because I'm not getting any younger, and I think the United Stand is so important. And there are things going on with the United Stand every year that take it forward. I still think there's a lot more that can be done, and yeah, the vision has to be one where it keeps evolving, and if it keeps evolving, eventually it'll get to a point where I don't do it anymore. So yeah, you've got to think think like that. I'm not going to talk about the monarchy, even though it is the Jubilee weekends. I don't do funnily enough, I don't really do politics, and I was looking at some other football contributors a few months ago, and they spend a lot of time talking about politics, and it's like ex-footballers, and I just don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. You are where you are because of football, and I don't think you should be pushing your political. I don't mind any other Twitter accounts doing it, but people who've got a following from football to then go, I'm going to start exerting my political influence on you now. If you've got 1 million followers because you're an ex-footballer, why you've got 1 million followers because you're an ex-footballer? It's like building up an emailing list because you're really good at selling trainers, and then you email that list about selling them pants. All right, it's in the same ballpark, but actually it was something completely different. Selling I don't know what's blockchain or all that stuff. I don't agree with it. I think you have a following because you're football, and now you are using that following to influence them with your politics. I just don't agree with it. I don't talk about my politics very often, and I don't talk about things that are like the monarchy or anything like that, because that's personal to me, what I think. I don't need to influence people on that. I don't want to influence people on football. I know I've got a big following and I talk about football, and part of that is that people are going to listen to you, so in some way you are influencing them, but that's never been my desire. I'm more interested in saying something that people might disagree with or think about, and then generate a conversation. I'm not interested in influencing people's opinions because it's not who I am. I'm not. I want people to think freely. I don't want them to be influenced by me. And therefore, if you start talking about your politics, I think you are somebody that, you like the sound of your own voice and you want people to think like you. In fact, I've probably just done something on the show there that I've analysed something that I've never thought about before. These people with big followings, who've got big followings for different reasons, who then start talking to you about politics, they're obviously very, very much people who want to be listened to. I don't want if I say that, you know, Harry Maguire's a bad footballer or Bruno Fernandes should be sold, that's my opinion. I don't want Man United to listen to it. I don't want you to listen to it. I just want you to think about it. And if you disagree, that's absolutely fine. Thoughts on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case? Well, we have just spoken about that, Danny. I have nothing to say. Hundreds of thousands of people were watching that. I think the sad thing about that is what I said. If you take that case and interpret it 10 different ways, so that one party's guilty, one's not, one's innocent, both are innocent, both are lying, both are telling the truth. You could tell that story in so many different ways. Ultimately, you've got two people saying two different things. The fact that so many people watched that and commented on it terrifies me, because, as I said, in its essence, the most important thing is the element of the case, and the fact that it could be interpreted in so many different ways. What worries me about that case is the scrutiny, people making their mind up because who their favourite is, people making their mind up because they see the evidence. That's one case, but it represents thousands of cases where people may now go, there's no way I'm reporting that. Look at that. Look at how that was perceived. Look at how they were believed, and this, that, and the other. And that's what worries me about trial by media, or trial by social media, is that, all right, the innocent party may well be the innocent party, but the comments and everything that people make about that may well not protect future victims who are genuine victims, if you know what I mean. What's your best advice for staying patient about telling someone your feelings for them, says Jack. Just be honest. Mark, that's football related. Testing Manscaped products with Goldbridge. I don't think the world's ready for that, Tommett. You definitely would get cancelled for that. And lots of people asking about the Johnny Depp case. I really didn't take any notice in it. I know. Yeah, I'm not going to comment on it because I didn't. What one person would you like to meet in a bar for a chat? And it doesn't have to be sports star, can be any celebrity. Quite a few people. I'd love to meet Liam or Noel Gallagher for a chat in a bar. There's a few actors I really like as well. Like I do Brad Pitt, DiCaprio. I think they'd be good for a pint. Footballers, ex-footballers. There's quite a few. Roy Keane. Doesn't have to be United, to be honest. I think there's a good few players as well. Current players. I don't know. I mean, Ronaldo's the GOAT, but he'd have a tonic water or something. I'd be there with a pint saying, do you want another one? And he'd be still on his first glass of water. I mean, he's so ripped. So, yeah, I don't know that modern footballers sometimes don't meet your heroes, I've learned that with experience. I've met so many celebrities who are knobheads. I've met some celebrities who are really nice, though. It's not all of them. But, yeah, don't meet your heroes is sometimes true. Okay. What's your biggest motivation? Like, what keeps Mark going type thing? You know what? I think that's a good question from Toasted Marshmallow. I think that everyone's got their own motivations. And for me, motivation is my family. That's why I do anything. Like, there's no point in going out and earning a fiver if you're just going to put it in your pocket and never do anything with it. You earn money. I remember my granddad saying to me, you earn money to live. And what you're going to do with that money or your life if you're not going to live. There's no point going to work and then just coming home and sitting down and doing nothing. Everything I do, my motivation is my family. My motivation is to do things I enjoy. Some people's motivation is greed. Some people's motivation is just, they're workaholics. I work to live. I don't live to work. And that's my motto. So look, I there's people who work harder than me. There's people who don't work as hard as me. But ultimately, I can't imagine just doing something with no end game, and that's my motivation. Is that family? My family is important to me, and my friends are important to me, and that spending time with them is important to me as well. But having said that, I know this will sound a bit cringy. I really do enjoy the community that we've built. I know there's people who don't like the content we do, and that's absolutely fine. But people that do, it brings me joy that people watch it and interact with it and say that they enjoy it. So that's a motivation as well. It's why there's certain type of content I've steered away from at times. I have to enjoy the content. Like, I remember going on Sky Sports a few years ago on transfer deadline day, and nothing against them, but I was there all day for 8 hours and I did 3 5-minute sections, and I was like, there's so much sitting around, it's so scripted, it's just, and some people love it. Oh, I'm on the TV. But for me, it was like, I could have done 4 or 5 bits of content. I could have been communicating. I could, that to me is doing the thing that you want to do is important as well, and being fortunate enough that people like it. Yeah. So good question. What is the motivation? But I think the motivation has to be, to live. Like, I'm not going to be live all the time. People think I am, but I'm not. And in between those times, I'm doing lots of things. Whether it's playing football in the garden with Seb, or getting a board game out, playing Monopoly with the kids, and watching a film with the wife, or going to a restaurant or something like that. These are all really enjoyable things for me that some people might go, well, that sounds a bit boring. But somebody's boring is somebody else's paradise. That's the way life works. Anyway, look, I've rambled long enough. I hope you've enjoyed the return of the video. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe, and get your comments in below. And look, it's back. Let's see if it's received well, and we might do some more. Speak to you in a bit.